tremendously. Okay, we're going to start again. 3. Here we go. Cooking and eating healthy with Coach Coates. In the picture here you see, it's the younger me at 20 years old. I was at the pinnacle of my health. I was a Division I athlete. I was a wrestler. It brings me back to a poem that I heard that a young man wrote, and it's actually unknown. We don't know who wrote it. It's called 0.9%. Wrestlers are the baddest individuals on the planet, mentally and physically. I don't care what anybody says. To be able to step on the mat at the NCAA tournament, only 0.9% of the young men who ever wrestled in their entire life, that includes all through high school and all through college, ever get the opportunity to step on that mat. I was one of those individuals. I was a conference champion. I was a captain of my team, and I had the highest GPA on my team. That was the most amazing part of it. Nutritionally, I ate meat probably 3 days a week. All the rest of the days, I was basically ate plants. At that time also, I was riding 20 miles a day. I was running every day. I was going to wrestling practice. Everything was perfect. Then I get to the next me, and that's the 45-year-old me. At the time, I was a wrestling coach. I was about 300 pounds or so, but I was still in pretty good shape. I was still going full practices with my guys. However, it was starting to get to me, the stress and uneating healthy. Now we get to the unhealthy me at 55 years old. This was only 2 years ago here. In this picture, I'm about 425 pounds. I couldn't walk to my car and back without being completely winded. The cortisol, the stress was just really getting to me. And I realized I had to make a change. This is me. I believe these pictures were taken a few weeks ago, about a month ago or so. Now up to this point, I've lost 180 pounds. And for those of you who know me, I weighed in the other day at 244 pounds. My goal is 220, but I'll get there. Right now, I'm more concerned about eating healthy and putting that message out of how to eat healthy and do the right things by your body. And here we go with our intro video.
This is Cooking and Eating Clean with Coach Coates. I'm the host of this video blog that chronicles a most exciting part of my personal journey. Through the lens of this endeavor, we will cook and eat clean, appetizing, delicious, colorful meals that highlight the reclamation of my health and happiness. At 57 years young, I am healthier than I was 30 years ago. Anyone who knows me will tell you that I live and love to teach, mentor, and coach individuals to compete. I decided to focus that same passion and energy on me by making personal and permanent lifestyle changes that illuminated my path to living in peace, balance, and health. I have lost over 170 pounds in a little over 10 months, and I have better mental clarity and energy than ever. Most important, I get the best of sleep of my adult life. And only 10 months ago, I had sleep apnea and was always tired. Food choices extend and save lives. The type and quality of food you purchase, prepare, and consume have a direct impact on the way you feel and overall health. A wise man once said, life is like a marathon, not a 100-meter dash. Now, I'm not a track guy, but I know enough about marathon and performance, understanding the basics of race strategy. Decisions made at each juncture of the 26.2-mile race have a huge impact on the outcome. I know and feel my life's marathon is barely half over. I've accidentally or on purpose discovered a way to nutritionally repair my body, and I'm healing for clarity and longevity daily through meditation, proper nutrition, and appropriate exercise. This was not always the case. Only 1 year ago, I found myself in the most unhealthy place in mind and body. Truly, my life light was dim, at best, and beginning to flicker. I had allowed myself to gain more than 200 pounds, of course, over a period of time, but yes, 200 pounds since graduating college. A year ago, I had just gone to the doctor voluntarily, I might add, but it gets scary when you have chest pains from walking from your office to the parking lot about 400 yards away. I was seen in the ER immediately, and they completed a battery of tests and came up with the following conclusions. At that time, I had high blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea, and numerous symptoms of congestive heart failure. I saw my primary care physician. Next, he explained to me, as he looked at me like most do, and shook his head and said, I now have the option to apply for disability because I was morbidly obese, and my weight gain was having a detrimental impact on the quality of my life. I just ignored the doctors and their recommendations and did my body no favors by eating everything I thought or could convince myself was nutritious. I was also taking doctor-prescribed medications, high blood pressure medications, diuretics, a pill for diabetes, and 3 painkillers a day to keep the pain at bay from the numerous athletic injuries and subsequent weight gain that resulted in chronic and severe arthritis in my knees, shoulders, hips, and back. There was not a time when I was not in pain. The medicine just took the edge off. Then, my world was turned upside down when I was involved in a serious car accident in 2019. I was poked and prodded and diagnosed with 3 herniated discs. I was in severe pain and could not walk to my car, let alone work, for over 3 weeks. I was seen by an orthopedic surgeon who recommended immediate surgery. As a child of a career military man, I was trained to listen to the doctors, but in my mind, I knew that there was another way. I decided to contact a chiropractor I knew who had invited me to his wellness center numerous times, as I was blessed with the opportunity to coach both of his sons in my capacity as a high school football and wrestling coach. Dr. Kenneth Cooper, president of Cooperstown Wellness Center, changed my life. First, I got relief from the almost unbearable pain I felt since the accident from the 3 herniated discs. The best part of that is I stopped taking pain medication altogether once we began to work. Dr. Cooper also introduced me to a book called The Longevity Diet by Walter Longo. It was at this point I realized that I did not have to be put out to pasture. I could detox, cleanse, and heal my body from the inside out through fasting, clean eating, and meditation. I began my detox immediately. Next, I completed 3 5-day water-only fasts, approximately 1 month apart, to bring my mind, body, and spirit back into balance and alignment. Finally, the strangest part of this experience was that I lost my taste for meat. Dr. Cooper prepared me for the distinct possibility that my taste buds could change quite dramatically after detox. 1 week after beginning, I voluntarily eliminated meat from my diet because I no longer craved it. It is difficult to explain, but I feel in tune with my body now as far as what I should or should not eat. I personally eat as clean as possible and by no means anything chemical or byproducts. I genuinely enjoy the diversity of tastes and colors in the wide variety of vegetables I consume. I enjoy the artistry of cooking with the utilization of colors and combinations of tastes to make the perfect, nutritious meals. It's now been 10 months and I've lost over 170 pounds. I have destroyed my initial goals, losing 120 pounds, and as of this week have set a new goal to lose a total of 200 pounds by October the 9th. To reach this goal, I must weigh 225 pounds, and it will be approximately 1 year since I started. How will I do that? Easy. Staying hydrated, eating timely and clean, exercising regularly, and meditating. I've been taking vitamins and nutrients prescribed by my chiropractor and nutritionist. But the most amazing result of this journey is my newfound passion for cooking colorful, delicious, nutritious meals. Cooking and eating with healthy with Coach Coates. Here we go.
All right. Let's begin by talking about a few meals from the past weeks. First, we have Fish and Chips by Denisha. What an amazing looking dish. Wow.
You see that?
Wow, what an amazing looking dish. The asparagus, the fish, and sweet potatoes. That looks good. I wonder how it tastes. I wonder, the recipe was pretty easy, and I'd like to ask, is that recipe really, really easy also? Next, we have Aquilana's dish of nachos. Same thing, look at that. I mean, artistic. And I mean, you can just look at it and see, it looks like it tastes really, really good. I love it. Next thing, as we get into it, we're going to talk about today's dish, shrimp salad. Okay, hold on, wait a minute. We have Akilana here. She's going to respond, and I'd like to know, first of all, how was it? What did you think? Was it easy to do?
Hey, yes, it was very easy. It was delicious.
Great. It looks great. I mean, your artistic integrity was awesome there. How did it taste? I mean, compare it to, for example, you would have that dish outside, but it would have all the impurities and everything. How did what did it taste like to you?
So it actually tasted spicier because I actually didn't use the regular jalapenos. I had a pico de gallo salsa that I ended up putting in that already had jalapenos in it. And it was spicier. And this was the first time that I actually made it with the cassava tortillas. And that was the ticket for me.
Yes.
Because I normally would just like make it with the taco shells.
Right.
But to be able to make it from scratch, I didn't even know how easy it was.
Yes.
But making those tortilla chips from scratch, just putting in, I didn't have an air fryer, but I put it in the oven and just baked it on both sides, and it was delicious.
Great. I know people always also use the almond flour ones also, and they really, really like those. But yeah, that dish looks amazing. And then, like I said, there's hardly any calories at all in there. And the impurities that you're taking out of those chips from not eating the regular GMO corn tortillas that are fried in lard, I mean, your calorie count goes way down. The chemicals in your body that you're putting in goes way down. The money that you're spending on it, even though you're using organic produce and things, it's still, you're going to come out about the same, but your health is so much better from that.
Yeah, and I used all non-dairy stuff. So the cheese, I used the vegetarian or the vegan cheese, and I used vegan. I added the vegan sour cream to it as well.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's what I use also. I don't eat cheese, and that's a personal choice. I don't eat cheese. I don't drink milk. I don't eat eggs or any of that. So I substitute in my cooking, by trial and error. But great, thank you very much. I really appreciate your feedback.
And thank you. I'll be making that recipe from now on.
Great. Okay, great. Well, hopefully we'll have some other ones that you'll like also.
Looking forward.
Thank you very much. All right. I'd also like to remind everyone, please, that's cooking along with us, please send in your photos and we'll feature you also and get some feedback and tell us, what were your experiences with it. All right, let's move on. Shrimp salad with Brussels sprouts. Okay, got a couple of pictures up here of some of the variations that I've used with shrimp salad. You can also use lobster, you can use fish, you could possibly use chicken or beef also. However, with beef, I think it's going to change your flavor profile. What makes this dish healthy? Well, if you look at it, we've got spinach, we've got what I call our super greens, we've got fruit, we've got vegetables, and again, what we're using is organically produce. We are moving everything away from all of the processed foods to the foods that truly make our bodies and minds and spirits healthy. All right. Now let's move on to what we're going to use. Today, we're going to use shrimp. You can use what we call the Langono lobsters, and they're the little lobster tails. I find those to be delicious. They're small. They're almost the size of a shrimp. They're already cooked. So when you use the air fryer or the skillet, you have to be very careful, only a minute or two just to kind of crispen and heat them up a little bit. And when I use those also, I use a little bit more garlic. The next thing we're going to use is Brussels sprouts. I prefer the small bag of the organic Brussels sprouts. Or when you pick them, it depends. When I go to the farmer's market, I like to pick my own. And if you take a look at these are just the ones, the organic ones that you get from the store. And they're excellent, absolutely excellent. However, I do like to support the local farmers, but COVID has kind of thrown a monkey wrench in that. So, once we get back to our farmers markets, I definitely want to support them. The next thing is what I call my superfood greens: spinach, kale, and I like the purple kale. and red chard. That combination, you will see me, I will eat that forever on its own. However, I like to add that into my salad, okay? The next thing is my sweet bell peppers. I love sweet baby bell peppers, all right? And I'll just use this bag, for example, about this size here. I like the yellow ones and the red ones. One of the things that I find in cooking now is that the more colorful my meals are, the better that they seem to taste. Next, we use a regular ripe avocado, small onion. I prefer the purple sweet onions, okay? And I already have some cut up in the interest of just making everything kind of flow together. Now, the next thing is you can switch this up yourself. What kind of fruit do you like? Now, with this shrimp, I pair the shrimp with apples, but I'm using two kinds of apples. I'm using the Red Delicious, and I'm using a green Granny Smith. They both have their own little flavor, but they make the shrimp really taste good. Oh, man, I wish you could taste it, but we'll get there.
Coach, can you show us what the kale looks like?
I will definitely, the kale, here we go. All right. The purple kale, as you see, it's got a purple stem here, and there we go. Now, the red chard is this. Now, if you saw this, now, if you asked me this 2 years ago and you put this in front of me, I would laugh at you. These are the most amazing vegetables that you could ever, not just the flavor profile, but nutritionally, how balanced they are and what they're doing for your body. Vitamins, minerals, everything that you can see. Now, one of the things that you'll learn also is the darker the vegetable, the more that it helps you, okay? This purple is amazing. This red is amazing. And I mix the spinach with them to make it just a little bit sweeter. Moving on, the next thing we're gonna use is balsamic vinegar. Now, I use an organic.
Coach, can we see the lettuce?
Butter lettuce. All right, I talked about the butter lettuce also. Now, here's the difference. You find regular lettuce in the store. However, if you notice this butter lettuce right here, it's still got a root. This barely came out of the ground. Now, why do I prefer that? Because when it barely comes out of the ground, the nutritional value of what you're eating, the raw vegetables, is huge. Now, for this, all I'm gonna do is spread it out. To me, this is a little bit sweeter, a little bit more delightful, and it pairs with whatever else we're going. You can use regular lettuce if you have it, but I think if you try this butter lettuce, you'll understand why I like it so much. All right, the next ingredient will be our balsamic vinaigrette. I use this particular one because the person that I meal prep for loves this particular one. However, if you want to pick these, what you want to do is you want to start reading labels. You want to look at the back and see what's processed. If the first 2 or 3 things are processed, that's not something you want to put in your body. And you know, this is like I said in the intro video, this is a marathon. This isn't a 100-yard dash. So you don't have to make all these changes right away. You know, I decided where I got to a point in my journey where I really needed to make these changes immediately. Hey, if you like a specific salad dressing, we'll use that one, but use just a little bit less. And then the next time, figure out another organic one that may be a little bit better for you. All right, moving on. We use a little bit of rice flour and a little bit of panko. Now, with my shrimp, today I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. I'm gonna use just a little bit of olive oil on it, and we're gonna air fry our shrimp, okay? And you're gonna see, it's gonna make it amazing, which moves us into the next one, which would be, what kitchen tools are we gonna use, okay? As we're moving to that, I'm gonna speak about our normal seasonings. Now, real quick, these are what I use. I use Old Bay, and again, I use the caveat because I'm in the process of developing my own Old Bay without the salt, because, and I'll speak a little bit later about salt. I had high blood pressure before, so I'm really careful with the amount of salt that I put in my body. However, I don't use table salt. I use Himalayan sea salt, which has the vitamins and mineral compounds that we need within our body. I also use crushed black pepper, and I use a little bit of mango habanero sauce and a little bit of onions, and that's about it. All right, so let's get to cooking. The tools that we use. I love the air fryer. The air fryer is the greatest thing ever made, if you ask me. You can do anything in the air fryer. I do fish, I do chicken. I don't eat chicken anymore, but if I prepare it for someone else, I would do chicken. I do all kinds of fish. I use salmon. Last week we did the orange roughy, just amazing. And a small skillet is about all we need. All right, let's get to cooking. Here we go. Prep your space first, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna move my kale back off to the side of my vegetables so that I can prep my space. The number one thing that you wanna do is, you want to make sure that you have your cutting boards, okay? As you see here, I've got my 3 cutting boards. I've got my green for vegetables, okay, which is the one that I will use now, okay? I've got my yellow for fruit and my red is for meat. Now, I move on to my knives. Funny story about my knives. These are all, and my mom is going to kill me when she hears the story. I took these all from my mom because my mom is 89 years old and she has this thing for, she thinks she needs sharper knives. Well, she cut her hand. And so I'm like, no, Mom, you can't have these knives. Well, how am I going to take the knives from her? So I actually took all the knives from her. So they are helping me in this process. And so when she sees this on Monday, I'm going to be in trouble. So if I don't come back for the next episode, you know I got a whooping from my mom, okay? Anyway, let's move on, all right? As I said, I've got my 3 different knives because I'm going to use one for fruit, one for vegetables, and one for my shrimp. This is my other little paring knife that I just use just in case, you never know, okay? And then I've got my 2 bags. I've got one for Brussels sprouts and I've got one for my shrimp, okay? Next, what we're going to move to. So I'm gonna move, I like to start off with my cleaver at the beginning, all right? So after we do that, we're gonna begin to prep, all right? I'm going to start off with my bell peppers. And basically, I'm just going to take the top off the bell peppers. Again, knife skills, keeping my fingers in, away from the blade. I'm going to take the top off the bell pepper. Now, here's a perfect thing that I'm going to use this for, is I'm going to cut out the middle of the seeds. Now, personally, I don't mind the seeds, but, you know, all the chefs and everything say take the seeds out. So I figured they're going to do, they know a little bit better than I do, so I take the seeds out. Okay, there. And I'm just going to cut across. There, there. Now, cutting is something of a preference. Some people like the big circles in their salad, and I mix it up. Some are big, some are small. I'll chop some up, and I'll leave some at that size. So you'll see I'll use 2 or 3 of these in there, and some will be bigger and some will be smaller. And I, you know, use that all the way throughout my salad. So I'm going to put those into my bowl, and then as I move to the next one, in between, I'm going to make sure that I wash my hands. One of the things you didn't see me at the beginning was I washed my hands before I did anything. I wash my hands in between everything. I have soap up here. And again, I choose to use things that don't have a lot of chemicals. I use the Myers Clean Hand Soap that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it. Again, okay, and I'm going to continue to chop. And I'm going to slow down just a little bit so those who are cooking with us can catch up just a little bit as I get to this one here. Now remember, I said I like mine a little irregular. So I'm going to cut these in half. Okay. I'm going to move. I accidentally put my butt in there. All right. I'm going to chop those and move those to there. Now, you see that I dropped one on the counter. I don't ever want to move to the counter because, again, we're using shrimp, we're using other things. That's what we call cross-contamination. If I touch that, I need to go wash my hands before I come back to this. So again, I've got one in there. Now I'm going to go with the red one, all right? I'm going to take my top off. I'm going to core it. That is the correct pronunciation of there. There. And again, I'm keeping my fingers in. There. All right. Okay. And let's go with one more red. And this one, we go there and we core it. And this one, we're going to keep it in long ribbons. That's gonna make our salad look amazing. Not just look, but taste. But again, I've found that, you know, as I've changed my eating, the more colorful my meals are, the more that they seem to, you know, satisfy me. Okay, so I'm gonna keep those in there. And again, you see I dropped that other one, and it's, you know, our tendency to want to just pick it up and put it back in there. Okay, now I put that down. I'm gonna come to here and I'm gonna wash my hands. Okay, I've also got a little bag in here that's a little bit out of sight, and what that does is I put all my vegetables in there, all the ends and things like that. All right. Okay, and I'm gonna reach for a paper towel here. All right. So now I'm gonna move these out of the way. Now, I've already taken the time to defrost my shrimp. And as you see, now I buy the ones at Costco, basically, in the bag, already done. All you have to do is put those in a bowl and then change your water every 3 or 4 minutes. So you turn on the faucet, fill up the bowl, change it every 3 minutes, and before you know it, they're thawed. Then all you're gonna do is, this is my shrimp, and all I have to do is take it to the inside of the shrimp, and I'm gonna make a small incision and take out the poop trail, all right? Now, you see what I just did? I touched the shrimp, right? So what I'm gonna have to do is go here, and I'm gonna have to wash my hands again because I'm gonna move on to the Brussels sprouts next. So I'm gonna go here, wash my hands real quick. Very, very important. And for all of you young people, washing hands is huge. So it takes about 20 seconds. We're gonna scrub, scrub, scrub. Make sure we scrub the backs, make sure we scrub the fronts, and make sure we scrub our hands. Okay, there. And I'm gonna grab a paper towel here. Cute. All right, let's move on to our Brussels sprouts. All right, Brussels sprouts. Since we're gonna use the whole bag, I'm gonna go ahead and cut that open. And I have my bag for my Brussels sprouts. Okay. There we go. Now, with my bag, I'm going to use, let me clean this up real quick and wash again. There we go. I'm going to use the bagged Brussels sprouts this time. Like I said, I wasn't able to get to a farmer's market to get some good ones. Okay. Dry my hands here real quick. Now with my Brussels sprouts, as you look, all I'm going to do is I'm basically going to cut them in half. And why I cut them in half is because you don't want the end of the sprout. That's what makes it kind of nasty. You're also going to need to clean these up. So the top leaves, when you see anything that doesn't look appetizing, just peel it off and drop it in. Now, one of the things that I do sometimes with my kale recipe is I will purposely take the leaves off the Brussels sprouts and put them into the kale, chard, and spinach mix. And that's a fourth lettuce type of lettuce that's in there. And that's just amazing too. I like that. So what I've done is I put my Brussels sprouts into my bag, okay, after I cut it in half, and I throw the back part away. So this one looks good. I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna put it into my bag. Same thing, next one. I'm gonna strip off the top leaf here. Okay. Now I can use the same cleaver because we're not contaminated. We just cut fruit, vegetables, so we're good. Okay. Now this one's a little messy here, so I'm gonna take it off right there. Okay. And we're gonna cut that right in half. There. Now see these little leaves like this? I like to save those and again, put those into my other mix. And again, it just gives it another kind of a peppery taste, I would say. Okay, I'm gonna cut that there. Okay, and we're gonna continue to slice these until we get through all of them. And they are amazing. You know, a lot of people, I've got some feedback when I said I was going to do Brussels sprouts. And they were like, you know, I like Brussels sprouts, but I can never make them good. And this is the easiest recipe in the world. All we're gonna do is put them in the bag, put some olive oil in there, put our seasoning in there, shake it up, move it around real quick, throw it in the air fryer, and we're good to go. Okay, there we go. We've got a couple more. We're gonna go ahead and do the bag because I guarantee you there won't be anything left. My production supervisor and the real boss of the show will definitely make sure that we take care of those. But again, and the great part about that is that when you eat good, you can pretty much eat as much as you want to eat and still do well with your health goals. Again, I continue to lose weight and I eat a lot of vegetables. Believe me, I eat, there's sometimes at night I'll get a pound of poke. And for those of you who don't know what poke is, it's raw fish. That's one of the things that I love. I eat fish. I don't eat any other kind of meat. But I'll get a pound of poke and a big, huge bowl of salad, probably 3 cups of spinach or so, almost a cup of sweet bell peppers and onions mix them all together and just chow down and still lose weight, and it's because the food that I'm eating is nutritious and delicious. Doesn't have a lot of calories. You're doing really well when it comes to, the Brussels sprouts and everything because the green carnivorous vegetables are very, very good for you and very good for your digestive tract. And if you see, little brown things on, you can just shave them off. No big deal. Again, and we've got one more there. Now we're going to look at how I season this. Again, very, very easy. Himalayan sea salt. 1, 2, 3. Old Bay seasoning. 1, 2, 3. Cracked black bell pepper. I usually go 4 or 5 on this because I like mine a little hot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then just a little bit of onion powder, just to give it just a little bit of special spice there. Okay. And then I'm going to go with my balsamic vinegar. And I'm going to give this about 3, 2, 3, 4. That's good. Now I'm going to move it around. Take my air out of my bag, and I'm going to move it around. All right. Okay. And I'm going to step to the left here real quick and grab my olive oil after I do this. Okay, go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Okay, there we go. Why don't you take a look, give him a good zoom on that right there. Okay, now, after I've done that, and you see they're very well coated there, now I'm going to put in about a half a teaspoon of oil, and that's 1, 2, 3. I know the rule of 3, right? Okay, so we're going to go there. Now, we're just going to move these around so that our oil coats these up a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right, that's what they look like. Now, I'm going to step here, grab my air fryer drawer. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands because I touched the bottle there. Remember, cross-contamination. As I step to my sink, there. I know I go through a lot of paper towels, I do. All right, getting back. I'm just gonna lay these out. One of the things about an air fryer, try not to overstuff your air fryer. It's worth it to make another batch to make sure that these are done correctly. As far as time, I find that these, you need to go 8 minutes, if not 9 minutes. But when you cook, start to kind of figure out your air fryer. A lot of times the directions to me, they'll say one thing, but when I cook it, it's totally different. So, I not that I don't go by the directions, but I kind of go by feel also. All right. There. You want to keep them away from the center as best you can. And we've got a couple more, so we're gonna go ahead and fill this baby up. And these are going to be absolutely delicious. Okay, there. All right, we'll go there like this. On over to our air fryer. For start, we're gonna go at 380. We're going to go for 8 minutes. All right. So we're gonna come back over. Now we'll finish everything from our salad. Okay, let me clean up my board just a little bit here. All right. Wash my hands one more time. All right. Next, we're going to move on to our lettuce. For my lettuce, I'm going to go ahead and grab the bowl that I'm going to prepare in. A lot of people like to use a bigger container. This salad's for 2 of us, basically, for this meal. So I'm going to step to here, and this is the size of the bowl that we'll use today. And I'm gonna start off with my butter lettuce. All right. As I said, remember this one has the root here. So usually the first thing I do is I peel the root and I move it down, okay? Now I start at the back and I peel off maybe the first 3 or 4 layers of leaves. And as you see, this got a little bit of dirt on it, but that's okay. God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. That's why we use a little bit of water. Get the water off, get the dirt off of there. There we go. And then again, I've already rinsed this once, but I'll give it another quick rinse. All right, so let me begin to do this. The other thing that I didn't speak about was I use apple cider vinegar also. All of these were pre-washed and put in apple cider vinegar. Okay, so as you see, I've got my little bed of lettuce going. And all I'm doing is I'm taking the leaves and I'm kind of breaking them at the base and I'm putting them down into my bowl in a basic geometric design there, okay? All right. We've chopped our bell peppers, so now we're gonna go to our onions. This is our purple onion, all right? Now, I have some purple onion that we've already worked with, so we're gonna continue to work with that one real quick before we get on the big one. And I am simply, that's why I love this cleaver, because I can just move down there. There we go. And so that's about what we need for this salad. And I'm just gonna cut, again, I like irregular. I don't necessarily like it to be sweet and pretty because, when you eat it, it's not gonna be that way. So some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. As long as they're bite-sized pieces, you're okay. All right. Now, I hear my air fryer starting to sizzle a little bit. So when I hear that, that's good. What you wanna make sure that you do with your air fryer is halfway through, you wanna make sure that you shake the bowl. So halfway through, you're gonna see me reach over and I'm gonna shake the bowl and we'll show you that we do that. All right, so, all right, I'm looking at my onions and I'm cutting those up. And then I'm gonna place them in another bowl. There we go. Okay. Now we're gonna move on to our kale. Again, my kale and my Swiss chard has been washed. For this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that with my kale, I'm gonna put it in the skillet and I'm gonna crisp it up just a little bit. Now, here's the difference. Let me clean my board just a little bit. Here's the difference. When you do that, every time as you cook it, you kind of bring some of the nutrition out. However, to me, it's kind of negligible. Sometimes I like my kale raw. Other times I like it crispy. I eat kale pretty much every day, all right? So I'm gonna move my plate back over. And here's my purple kale. again, with my cleaver, I'm just gonna simply cut the stem out of the leaf. Not necessarily all of it. Some people like the stem. I'm kind of in the middle. Sometimes I like the stem, sometimes I don't. But for the interest of this beautiful salad, we're gonna go without the stem, okay? There's my leaf, okay? I'm gonna chop it, all right, there. For this one, we'll just go to there. And for these two, since the stem is pretty big here, we're gonna move some of that out of there. There we go. Chop. Keep our leaves. Okay, I'm gonna reach over now. My Brussels sprouts are at 3 minutes, so you're gonna see me reach to my cam. There. All right, got those going now. Next, I'm gonna transfer these onto my plate. And I'm going to put my red chard onto my cutting board. Red chard, I love this stuff. Actually, the first time I used it was kind of an accident. And when I tasted it, I was like, oh my God, I have to use this again. Again, I pulled the stem out. And again, that's a personal preference. You don't necessarily have to. All right, there's one. And then I just put the other leaf on top of that leaf. So what if it gets cut? No big deal. And there, chop that one. Okay. And I'm simply going to kind of score these to make them a little smaller. All right, now, next we're going to move over to the stove. I'm going to make my, let my heat get hot on the oven, so, on the stove. I'm going to bring that up to about a medium heat, so let me step over to the skillet now. I'm going to turn that on, and to get it hot, I'm going to move it up to about a 5 at the beginning. I've already pre-sprinkled a little bit of olive oil in there, and I'm simply going to move everything over to there. Okay? From there, I'm just going to let it sit until I hear it starting to dance a little bit. Now, again, with my, as I'm saying, the seasoning, you're going to hear me say this over and over and over again. A little bit of Himalayan sea salt, a little bit of Old Bay, which for some reason where we are, Old Bay is in like demand or something because we can't find it for some reason. And a little bit of cracked pepper. Okay, there we go. And all I'm going to do is, once I start to hear it sizzle a little bit, I'm going to keep it moving for a while because we don't necessarily want to make this crispy. We just want to heat it up so that when we put it in our salad, it gives us just a little bit of a different taste. Okay? Now, you see me reaching here. Be careful with your hands, people, please. I don't want people coming back saying, Coach, I burned my hand because I did what you did. All right. Okay, we're going to move back over to our counter while we're going to turn this down a little bit to about a 4, 3.5 or 4. And once we hear it, we'll keep it moving. Okay, our Brussels sprouts are done. Oh my gosh, they smell so delicious. Let's take a look at our Brussels sprouts. Those look amazing. Look at that. Oh, if you could smell this. Oh. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put those on a plate for right now. All right. And I'm going to put this just right here. Okay. And we'll put our plate. Look at that. Oh, gosh. We'll make them look real pretty there. Okay. Now, you'll notice that I didn't use any spinach when I first started with my red kale, with my red chard and my purple kale. That's because spinach cooks a lot quicker than the others. So I can hear it starting to crackle a little bit. That's perfect. There we go. So as it starts to crackle, I'm gonna step over in a couple seconds. I'll stir it up a little bit more, okay? And then after I stir it up a little more, I'm gonna add my spinach. Spinach only takes a couple seconds. While I'm doing that, I need to make sure that I use my avocado, okay? So I can use my cleaver again. I like to use my coring knife to pull the seed. There, the stem, I mean. Then I'm simply gonna go at the top and make my way around. There and there. Trick I learned for the seed. There, twist it, keeping your fingers out of the way, and push. All right. Now, let's step back over the stove because I hear that popping. All right. As you can see, it's starting to do things for us here. There we go. We've already pre-seasoned. Okay. Not quite ready for the spinach, almost though. As you see, our leaves are wilting down just a little bit. All right, we'll give it a couple more seconds there, and then we're gonna add our spinach to that. I'm gonna step back over and grab a spoon. For your avocado, very simple. Go to the back of the avocado, push your spoon in, separate, roll around. Separate, roll around there. There we go. That's one. All right. Then I'm gonna take my cleaver, clean them up a little bit, chop to there, chop to there, chop to there. All right, let's step back over to the stove as I hear that sound. I'm gonna grab my spinach. I'm gonna take a rough handful because spinach wilts down. And I'm gonna put it right on top. There we go. Now we will let that marinate, as they say. We're gonna come back over. And we're gonna move that around just a little bit. Okay. Believe it or not, folks, that's almost done. And as you see, that spinach kind of disappears pretty quick. Okay. There we go. And we're going to move back over to here. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to core our fruit. But wait a minute. We've got this border with this avocado on it. So we're going to put our avocado onto a plate. And we will add that to the salad last because, as we know, avocados kind of disappear on us. So we'll chop these up in just little baby pieces. There. There. Clean this up real quick. Okay. There. All right. Now, what I will do now is I will move my knives out of the way, and I'm going to come with my next cutting board. Drop it right on top, no problem. Got my apples here. I always wash them, even though they've been washed before. And now I'm going to come with a new knife, okay? I'm going to core it, half it rather, quarter it, and the next, okay? I'm going to move back over to my stove real quick. All right. Now check that out. It sounds amazing, I know. Now, I'm just gonna put this over to the side next to my avocados. Now, the great part about this dish is you can eat this just like this, and this is usually the way that I eat it right here, okay? If you could smell the spinach and everything There we go. Okay. All right. That's perfect. Next, like I said, we're going to finish with our apple. And all we're going to do is take our core. So we'll slice down, and pull out our core. Okay, there. Cut across and down. Again, they don't have to be perfect. Some people like everything uniform. I don't, it doesn't really bother me one way or the other. Again, I'm going to take out my core again. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to go there, pull out my core. There. Okay. Now, what I do with my apples now is I will actually drop those into my salad bowl because I'm beginning to now build my salad. So there. And let's take one more of these. Now, some people don't like the red. Okay. I like the red because there's a lot of vitamins and minerals in there. And after all, that's what we're eating for. You know, people are like, oh, I don't want to be, you know, I think this COVID thing has really shown people that, you know, not only do we need to be healthy, we need to eat to boost our immune system. And that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. So half an apple is probably good for the size of salad that we have. So we'll put this over to the side. All right. Next, we're going to do probably a quarter apple, a quarter of the other one, because there is definitely a difference in taste in the green apples and the red apples. These are a little more sour. And one of the amazing things that I found about cooking is when you pair the sour with the sweet, oh, and the salty also, it just makes it amazing. Okay, so there. And I'm going to chop these. Again, don't necessarily have to be regular. Okay, that one touched the counter, so we're not going to mess with that. Okay, there. And we're good there. So we'll move those off to the side. And next we're going to move on to our shrimp. So we're going to have to wipe everything real quick. Okay. And actually, I'm going to move these two boards to the other side. And I'm going to come to there. I'm going to grab my shrimp bag. I already have my shrimp prepared. And all we're going to do is season them. Now, this is the amazing part. When I began to mess around with the shrimp, now I went from fruit to these, so I don't have to worry about cross-contamination. The fruit's not going to contaminate the shrimp. So I'm going to put my shrimp in. Now, you can use rice flour like the recipe says, or you can use olive oil. For this one right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of coconut oil. So I'm going to step to the counter real quick, step out of the picture, and back into the picture. And I'm going to wash again because what did I do? I went from shrimp to here to there. So I've got to come back with the Clorox because I do this all the time. I make mistakes, but that's okay if you make mistakes. Just know that you did it and try not to cross-contaminate. Again, I'm washing my hands again. All right. And 20 seconds for a mirror. 20 seconds. I'm scrubbing the tops. I'm scrubbing the backs. And I know somebody's out there counting. Probably my son is counting to make sure I'm doing 20 seconds. All right. So we got that done. All right. I'm going to dry our hands. Now, why do I use coconut oil? Coconut oil and olive oil are two healthy fats that we need. Again, it's going to be about a teaspoon. All right. Now, what's my mixture? Everybody can probably almost say it with me. Okay. Himalayan sea salt, about 3. Crushed black pepper, about 4. Well, 5. Okay, let's give it 5. And Old Bay, and we'll give that about 3 shakes. And I'm actually going to use a little bit of mango habanero, but on this one. And I love this stuff. It is got, like I said, it's got mango in it, and it's got a little bit of habanero. Well, it's got a lot of habanero, honestly. And it's pretty hot, but it's not a burn your mouth out hot. It's hot, but it just makes the dish just jump off. So sealing my bag, pulling my oil out, pushing the oil out rather. I go to there and I'm simply gonna massage. Now with your shrimp, you don't wanna massage it too much because you don't wanna bruise your shrimp, okay? So I'm gonna move it and the oil's gonna do most of the work for me, all right? Now, the difference in coconut oil and olive oil, and the reason why I reach for my coconut oil just makes it so sweet, okay? And again, it's healthy fat, you're okay. If you go for your walk a day, which you should be doing anyway to, you know, get everything moving, you have no problem with the fat that's in this meal or any of the other meals that we really prepare, okay? There's a question in the chat box. What's a good rule of thumb of picking an avocado? Well, what I do is I touch the avocado. Is it firm? Okay, not squishy, but just firm. And if it's firm, moving around as you move around, then it should be good because you should be able to cut into it with no problem. Okay, and we'll come back to some of these questions if I haven't answered your questions. Okay, what I'm going to do is I've come to here now. There's my shrimp. Now we're going to move back over to the air fryer. All right, okay, let's move back over to the air fryer. And we'll bring our drawer to here. Again, we don't have to worry about contamination because we're not going to use that board anymore. Okay, and I'm going to drop my shrimp in. Now I'm going to position them around my air fryer. And if you notice, I'm doing shrimp last. Why am I doing shrimp last? Because I don't want to air fry anything else before I do shrimp, even though it gets pretty hot and it would probably not be an issue. But to me, again, it still probably could be cross-contamination. Now, shrimp are a little different. Believe it or not, all you need is 3 minutes, okay? Now, you see what we've done here, all right? We're going to go back. We're going to plug it in for 3 minutes, folks. And then we'll construct the rest of our salad, okay? I'm going to go at 380. And drop my minutes down to 3. All right. And we're going to come back and put together our salad. What's the first thing I got to do? Wash my hands. I know, get tired of washing your hands, but dude, you don't want to get sick, believe me. All right. So we go back. You know, as I'm doing this, one of the things that I didn't neglect to put on the list is I like to use things like parsley and mint. Oh, I love putting just a little bit of mint in things because it really brightens up the dish, especially salads. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna move back and move my salad bowl over. And if you notice, here was my shrimp board. Now I'm gonna have to wash my hands again because I'm touching my shrimp board. But that's okay. I don't mind doing it in the interest of cleanliness and not cross-contaminating. So if I was better organized on that, what I would have done was move that over before I washed my hands. And another paper towel. Okay. I'm going to let me get a little bit better organized here. I'm going to add some of my onions.
Just pause, check, see how they're doing.
All right. I'm going to give you, as I clean up, I'm going to give you a minute to catch up. There we go. And I'm going to clean my area here. There. Okay, back at you. Okay, let's continue. We're going to add some of these in. I'm going to add some onions in and mix. Let me get our salad bowls next, and we will create all the way. All right, again, we're going to lay down here. We're going to use some of our mix, okay? And some of our apples that have already kind of put some of the flavor back into our salad. Okay. Now we're going to, again, spread some of our color in. Throw a few more onions in. Now, let me shake these real quick. Okay. Now I'm gonna add my kale and spinach and red chard. As you see, I kind of just separated a little bit. Okay. And throw a few more apples on top. Okay. And now a few more onions. Now we do our avocados. There. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be delicious. Now comes the fun part. You didn't hear it off camera, but the shrimp are cooked. Let me grab the drawer while you sit there and look at these yummy salads. Look at that. Oh, I wish you could smell it. Oh. Look at that. That's 3 minutes. How easy can that be, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, how easy can that be? 3 minutes. All right, now we are going to move it off into our plate just so that we can kind of individualize our shrimp. There. Now we're going to place our shrimp within our salad. Okay. Okay. Here we go. There. I'm going to wash my hands real quick. Look at that amazing salad. Does that look good or what? All right. Now, my final touch is I'm going to add just a taste of parsley. Parsley is a palate cleanser, so it does help us a little bit. And again, if, you know, some people are into beauty more than others. I mean, me personally, looks good, tastes good, you know, that kind of thing. So we're going to add just a little bit more parsley here. Okay. And then next, we're going to show you our final meal. All right. And if we can move the camera to here. There's our salads. And there's our Brussels sprouts. Wow, does that look amazing or what? Cannot even tell you how good that smells. And again, look how many calories we have here. This is a complete meal for 2 people. No problem at all. Now, I get to taste it. Well, let's start off with the Brussels sprout. Okay, they're not mushy. Nice and crunchy. Oh, very well seasoned. Again, I like a little bit more pepper, so I would add a little bit more hot stuff to it. I have some habaneros in the freezer. They're just amazing. But they are just, oh, delicious. Give you another look at that. There it is. Like I said, the air fryer, 8 minutes. Very, very good. Now, moving on to our salad. Let me finish chewing, sorry. We have a question. Is there a healthy dessert that goes along with it? I'm not really a dessert guy, I gotta be honest with you. And I think that comes from being a wrestling coach and being a wrestler and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, I think when you eat the salad and you eat the apples that are in the salad, you get that sweetness within it. And to me, it's just amazing. You will be surprised if you make this salad, you will be surprised how full you are from the combination of foods. Speaking of salad, I'm gonna try a little bit here. I'm gonna get a piece of shrimp, a piece of apple, a piece of butter lettuce there. Now, one of the amazing recipes, and I'll have to do this one also. I do butter lettuce wrap, and I do it vegetarian style. I don't use any meat, but you can use meat at all. For example, you could use the shrimp easy, okay? Now, what I'm doing here, there we go. Look at that salad. Does that look delicious or what? Bon appetit. Mm. That is delicious. On that piece, I got a little bit of the parsley also, which made it very, very good. I think, like I said, the flavors melt. The sweet bell peppers, the avocados, the kale, and everything else kind of goes together. And then you get a little bit of the onion and a little bit of the hot. It really tends to make your palate go, wow, even from that little bit right there, I'm good. As far as being hungry. All right, now let's move to the chat box. All right. Okay, I've got a lot of that looks good. We already handled the question as far as a good dessert that goes. But I got one question to ask. Who's going to try this? How many of you guys are going to try it? Because I need to see some pictures next week, all right? I want to know. Because, for example, Wilda, try this and tell me, did you think that you wanted dessert after you ate this? Again, I try to eat nutritious so that I'm eating the good foods versus the foods that may add more calories. Or again, you and I talked about this with high blood pressure, the foods that are not going to require a lot of salt, or they're not going to give you a lot of salt. That's one of the problems with going out to eat, people. They'll say that it's a fresh, healthy alternative, but it's really not because of all the salt and everything else that they've added to the meal. If they just cook nutritiously like this without all of that stuff, then it would be fine. Well, let's face it, they don't have the capital to be able to cook like that and still stay in the business, okay? Anybody else? Oh yeah, we got a couple of people that are definitely gonna try it. All right, I love that, I love that. Yes, I'd like to thank you all so much for coming to support me. This is a dream of mine. I would like to also thank Dr. Krishna Smith. She is amazing. She's the one who's behind the camera and doing all of the things. She's the one that helps me to get prepared to do this. This was a real stretch for me, I've got to admit at the beginning, but I love it. It's, I love to cook. I love to help people to get healthy. And, that's the thing I want to do. I want to pay it forward. I've lost 180 pounds. And for those of you who knew me in the past, even at 420, I got around and did all that, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all. And that was one of the comments that really kind of touched my heart. I don't know if Gabby, if you're out there, but she's like my goddaughter. And the one thing that she said is she's like, Coach, it's really awesome to see you as happy as you are with the way that you look. I think that's incredible. So anyway, we are about to sign off. Thank you so much for your support. Love you all. Hope to see you next week. God bless. Have a great day. Goodbye. Bye, everybody. Bye, Amir.